Okay, so we're going to get started. Since we're in the place of spirituality, let me start with taking homage to our teacher. It could be anyone, but if you're into Buddhism, it could be the historical Buddha. Okay? Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Welcome, everyone. Last week, and obviously now we do have a lot of pain, right? So some of that are acute, meaning that you play racquetball or whatever, and you cause damage to your joints and your ligament or whatever, and it's acute pain. But some of us actually suffer from chronic pain that just never go away. So we take a lot of pain medicine, we do a lot of injection, sometimes steroid and all that. And I just kind of use that as an introduction to say that what we practice here is really a Eastern philosophy to not only to our health, but our being, our existence. And instead of thinking a body as a constellation of components, or more broadly, the universe as a constellation of planets, the Eastern philosophers like to think of it in terms of energy. So it's the energy in the universe that maintains the harmony, and it's the energy within us that maintains the harmony. And when that energy goes out of order, then there's a lot of pain. Okay, so that's sort of the basic belief. All right. So what we're going to do, what we did last week, and started with the breathing exercise, which is really a good exercise to initiate the harmony or the balance between our autonomous system. And so we're going to continue with that, and we're going to start with some massage. And we're going to massage from our fingers to our toes, and we're going to massage from the top of the head to the bottom of our feet. But the kind of massage that we do is based on the idea of clearing the energy channel. Now, this concept actually came from the North Indians. The North Indians have a very complicated way of thinking of existence. They think of existence in terms of these 5, like Russian dolls, one on top of each other. And so at the very outermost, they call it the food body. We all ate breakfast. This body is a result of our breakfast. Inside is our thinking mind, and then inside is the energy. And then inside of that is basically, one can think of it as our identity. It's the way we think of ourselves, the way that we gain acceptance to others, the way that we might fight against it. And then finally, it's what we would call the karma. You can think of it as a memory. It's a trauma, if you will. Okay, it's just a very complicated way of looking at it, very, very thorough. Now, when that idea came to the Chinese, they want to simplify it. So they just think of it in terms of 3 layers of existence: our body, our energy, and our mind. Okay, just 3. And the strong belief is that you can't really have physical health, you can't really fix what's wrong with your body without really understanding that the body and the minds are very connected. So we always think that the body has keeps the score, right? That's a very famous book. That if you have trauma, in the past, it causes damage to your body, not just to your mind. And a very simple way of thinking about our body and the mind is that there's the energy that connects the two. And so what we're going to do today is just learn to do massage. Now, some of that is popular now in the Western world, and they call it fascia massage. Fascia as in myofascia, the connective tissue of the muscle. So instead of just massaging the muscle, the tendon, they actually massage what's in between. And then there's a better and more understanding that the connective tissue is really a communication channel that has been ignored and by the Western scientists. Okay, but on the Eastern scientists, they believe that. They believe that our body has this additional communication channel, and if we could clear this channel, we could allow the energy in the universe to come to our body, then we can reduce our body, our inflammation, and heal ourselves that way, or more accurately, unleash our own self-healing power. Okay, I'll talk more about that as we go. But I just want you to follow me and think of this as just a retreat, a therapy, a spa, and where you are spending the next hour, in your case, just kind of taking care of your body, but taking care of your mind too. All right, so how do we do that? So as we massage from the fingertips to our toes and from the top of the head to the bottom of our feet, we also want to heal our mind by anchoring our mind on the body. So I want you to focus on your body. First, we're going to learn how to sit properly. And a lot of you have back pain, and so this actually helps by sitting properly. And so what do we mean by sitting properly? Well, let's see if we could remove the baggage on our body. The baggage on the body is basically the weight of our body. So I want you to focus on the very lower part of your spine. Now I want you to walk up the spine one joint at a time. And as you walk up the spine towards the top of the head, I want you to stretch the spine. Stretch as hard as you can towards the top of the head, towards the ceiling, as if you're hanging the spine on the ceiling. And then now, I want you to lean back. As you lean back, I want you to feel the change in your body. Feel that, the body seems to get lighter. And it's getting lighter because you're using less and less of your back muscle. Until you say, if I do any more, I'm going to fall over. No, you won't. And then by that time, you just relax. So by doing that, what you're doing is you're putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine, as opposed to leaning forward, using your back muscle, or leaning back on the back of your chair, putting more weight on your spine. So if you go to Japan, they're still sitting the way that we used to sit thousands of years ago in China, where they sit on a stool that has no back. And they tend to sit very low, somewhere like this. It's very interesting. Now the next thing I want you to do is I want you to do the same thing with the neck muscle. And so I want you to focus on your forehead and just kind of lean back as if you're putting the weight of your head, which is like 25% of your total weight, on top of your spine. And you similarly feel a sense of lightness because you're not using your neck muscle anymore. Now I want you to focus on your chin. I want you to tuck in your chin slightly, as if you're putting the top of your head on your spine. Now the Chinese Taoists, they call this one pillar supporting the sky. This is really a conduit between the energy in the sky and the energy on the earth. Okay, now this is the proper way to sit. Okay, so when you feel tired, your back hurts, first thing you want to do is remove the weight. And you do that very simply by just lifting up your spine, lean back, and then relax. That's all right? Just feel that. Okay, so now we're going to start today's therapy. I call that the mind-body Qi therapy. Qi is our way of explaining the energy system. And so now I want you to focus on your left hand, focus on the center of your left palm. I want you to bring up your left hand. I want you to take a look at your fingers. I want you to take a look at the fingertips. And I want you to bring up the right hand using the thumb and just very gently massage the fingertips. Now when I talk about energy, talk about Qi, you would hear me talk about both yin and yang. Yang is the influence of the sun, and the yin is the influence of the absence of the sun. And in our body, we both have the yin and the yang. The yang is the part of the body is facing the sun, the yin is away from the sun, And the energy that flows out is called yang. The energy that comes back is called yin. And where they intercept is the fingertips. So the fingertip is actually a very important energy points. And so now I want you to massage on the right-hand side. And then now I want you to massage the joints very gently, very slowly, massage around the joints from the left to the center to the right. And then as you finish one joint, move to the next one. As you finish one finger and move to the next one. You might say, well, wait a minute, I came in here with a knee pain, not with a finger pain. Some of you might say, well, actually I do have finger pain, I have arthritis. And of course, if you have arthritis in the finger, now we're going to move to the right-hand side. Again, massage the joints very gently. Focus on the joints. Observe the change in your joints. You're going to feel some pain, some warmth, some sweat maybe. Now I'm going to want you to flip the hand and work on the back side. But this time, we're going to take our thumb and the index finger and just kind of squeeze around the fingernail. Okay, squeeze around the fingernail. And then same thing on the other side. One at a time, one at a time. Okay, now, again, we're going to massage the joints from the back of the hand. Again, very gently massaging as if you're whispering to yourself, right? You probably haven't taken care of your body for a long, long time. You can take care of everybody else. But today is all about you. You just want you to really feel your body, feel the change in your joints as it's massage, and you might feel a lot of comfort. All right, so now we're going to open up some of what we call the yang channel. Again, yang is the influence of sun, so yang basically means energetic. So I want you to kind of hold your hands, open up the fingers, use the right thumb, use the edge of the thumb, and just kind of massage in between the fingers. Massage in between the fingers. Okay, we're going to come back to the thumb in a minute and just massage that. And then now I want you to hold your fist very light. Take the thumb, use the edge, and just kind of massage in between the knuckle. Okay, now same thing on the other side. Massage in between the knuckle. Now I want you to, the back of the hand in between the bones. So there's like a channel in there, and just kind of massage that. Again, we come back to the thumb in a minute. And then there's three very important energy points around the wrist on the outside that opens up your yang energy, opens up your energetic energy. So when you say, well, what does it mean when I don't have enough yang energy? Well, you feel tired. You get tired very easily. You're just dragging your body along, and you feel very cold. So in the middle of the night, your feet just start to get cold. You get into the bed and you want to kick you out of the bed. That's when you know that you don't have enough yang energy. All right, so there's three energy points. So I want you to think about in between your index fingers and your middle fingers, you go along this line in between, and then when you get to the top of your wrist, now you kind of put your index finger there, and you just kind of move around, and very easily you will find a dimple. Now I want you to put the thumb on the dimple and just press down. Now what we're doing is what's called acupressure. Applying some pressure there. You feel kind of numbness, tingling, right? There's another one in the thumb. So as you come down on the thumb, again you move around, there's a dimple. And so put your thumb there and do some acupressure. Same thing on the small fingers in the back, do some acupressure. So those are the three energy points that now, of course, it's not going to work just like that. Just because you press on it doesn't make you heal the problem. But if you do that as a habit, okay, along the thumb, the other one, and then you find that your feet is no longer. So my feet are warming up already. Okay. Now we're going to come back to the thumb. The thumb is actually very important. So I want you to come back to your thumb, massage your thumb all the way around. And then I want you to use the thumb and the index finger, form a pincher, and pinch along this area. You think about your thumb as a drumstick. It's the meat part of your just kind of pinch on that, pinch on that. and maybe use the knuckle, kind of drill in there. This is a very important energy point, as it turns out. And then same thing on the other side. And now there's another very important energy point right in the middle. And so let me explain. So when you look at the inside, we actually have 3 energy lines: the thumb, the small fingers, and the middle fingers. Now, very often you will hear me say, "Oh, that's a heart meridian. That's a lung meridian." I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to question and bewilder and say, "Well, what does that have to do with the heart? My heart is over here. What does it have to do with the kidney? My kidney is over here." Well, we just name it after that. We name it after that. So it's actually more accurate to think about them in terms of the 5 elements. So this one is the fire element. This one is the mineral element. We also have the water elements and the soil elements and so forth. There's 5 elements. So we don't want to spend too much time on that right now. So I want you to focus on the center of your palm. You always talk about the healing hand. This is the only energy point that can actually give out energy. So if you want to heal someone, you want to start working on that. So I want you to use the knuckle, kind of drill into that. And then drill into that. Okay? I'm watching my time. And then I want you to put that together and kind of massage that. Then I want you to put the right hand on top of the left hand, squeeze the fingers, and massage that. Now, it's very interesting that even when you work on the fingers, your entire body becomes warm, right? So the easiest way to think about it is that we're talking about circulation of energy. And these happen to be the extremities, so they are the bottlenecks. And so when you get cold, it's the fingers that cold, it's the toes that get cold, it's the ear that cold. Those are the extremities, right? So we always start with the extremities. Okay, now, there's a very simple exercise that is very popular, and it's discovered by a retired professor, science professor. Unfortunately, after he retired, he had a minor stroke, and so he was looking for a method to kind of accelerate his physical therapy, and he discovered this technique. And then he found out that not only will it be a good physical therapy, it actually reduces your chance of having a stroke. Now, keep in mind that most people think that, oh, a stroke, that's cholesterol. So you just take some medicine, cut down on the cholesterol, you'll be fine. Except that cholesterol is not really the problem. The problem is that you have inflammation in your blood vessel. It's like you have cracks in the wall, and you want to put, fill up that crack with some plaster. The cholesterol is actually your body's plaster in fixing your blood vessel. And so there's more and more understanding now by taking the cholesterol medicine, it actually causes dementia because 80% of your brain is cholesterol. So the Chinese doesn't think that. The Chinese think that the way to do it is to reduce inflammation. And it turns out that this very simple technique, reduce inflammation in your blood vessel, very simple. All you have to do is you take the thumb and the index fingers, you put that together, and you squeeze as hard as you can. Then you take the thumb and the middle fingers, and you squeeze as hard as you can. Then you take the thumb and the ring finger, and you squeeze as hard as you can. And then finally, the small fingers, and you squeeze as hard as you can. Now you take your thumb, you put that in the middle of the index finger, and you squeeze. The middle of the middle finger, and you squeeze. The middle of the ring finger, and you squeeze. And then the middle of the small finger, and you squeeze. Okay? This is actually a very famous exercise. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn to do some acupressure. And there are a couple of energy points. And these days with AI, it's actually very easy to learn about a knowledge. All you have to do is just type it in, tell me about I can give you some hint on what this is called, but then you can kind of figure it out. Now, there's an energy point. I'll show you 3 energy points. If you don't do anything else, just do those 3. The first one is what's called a merging valley. So if you open up your index finger with your thumb, you see this ridge. Now you take your thumb, you see this line. You take the line, you put it on top of the ridge, and then you push down with the thumb. The important part is that you take your right hand, you put that on the outside of your left hand, and you push down. Now this actually is multi-purpose. So one of the one that is well known is that it actually relieves pain. So if all of a sudden you have really acute pain, especially like when you have muscle cramp. Muscle cramp is a bitch, right? So in the middle, especially when you get it in the middle of the night. And so what happened is that it turns out that if you just relax, the muscle cramp will go away, but you can't because you're in pain. So this is actually a very good way. And it's, if your right leg has problem, you press down on the left, and you press down with the thumb, not with the fingernail, but make sure that the right hands are on the outside. So as you push down, you lean towards the index finger. Now let's do that on the other side, and you just press down. Now these two energy points has many, many purposes, and in addition to relieving pain, a very important purpose is that it reduces your high blood pressure. Okay? Now, of course, it reduces it only temporarily, right? So there are reasons why you have a high blood pressure, and we can work on that. Now, the next one is also very famous. These two out of the three is really fix a lot of problems. So what you do is you turn your wrist, you measure 3 fingers. In the middle, you put your thumb. And then the 4 fingers you can put immediately behind or just right below, whichever one gives you some leverage, and you just push down with that. Now this one is tied to your fire element, which is your heart. Very famous if you have irregular heartbeat, right? So, all right. Now, some of you have back problem, and I often do. And so there's an energy point. So if you fold and you measure 3 fingers, you find the bone, right? Now you take your hand, you find the bone. You measure 3 fingers, and then on the outside, you press down. And very often, you know, I have a little bit of pain in my back. You know, when I wake up, I get up too soon, and I press down on that. It relieves the pain on my back, right? Now the other side, again, you find the bone first. Measure 3 fingers from the bend. Put your thumb on the bone first, and then slide down on the outside. Okay? So these are very good. All right, so now I'm going to show you another technique. You find this ruler next to you, right? Okay? Now, it's just a 25-cent wooden ruler that we all have. And I just wrap it with some masking tape, so it just round off the edges a little. Now, this is something strange if you haven't seen it before, and it's scraping. And the idea is that you scrape along these meridians to improve the circulation. There's actually a lot of study now from the Western scientists to want to know why. But it just works. Okay, now, I'll show you how to do it, and then I'll explain when and how you do it, when and why you do it. Now, first you start with the wrist. You go along this middle line until you get, start with the elbow until you get to the middle. You take your ruler and you just kind of scrape like this. And then come back. Now, just kind of find a way that works for you. Not too hard, not too soft. And if you have, you know, skin disease, then obviously, you know, you have to make your own decision whether you want to do that. So just scrape and then come back, okay? And then now you see the bone, just right inside the bone, scrape to the wrist, and then come back. Now, along the bone, and then come back. Outside the bone, and come back. And then in the middle, and come back. And then along the small fingers, and come back. And then just keep rotating your hand, the center, outside of the bone, on top of the bone, inside the bone, in the middle, and then along on the inside, along the index finger, scrape around 4 inches of earth, and then get down to the elbow. Now, this particular area is very good to improve the quality of your sleep. Okay, this is part of the heart or more heart and mind. The Chinese, they don't really. Now you notice there's some red spots, right? Maybe I scrape a little too hard. And so you have to find a way. Don't hurt yourself. Now, what this is good for is carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel is inflammation. All right? So do that. To the wrist, come back. And then inside the bone, come back. On top of the bone, outside the bone, in the center of the arm, and then along the small fingers, and then come back. Just, kind of rotate your hands, come back, and then along the small fingers, and come back. And maybe scrape the back of the hand a little bit, the fingers, the thumb, the back of the hand, the fingers, the thumb. Now, I do this at least once a day right before I go to sleep, when I relax on my sofa watching whatever show that just kind of relax, and I scrape. And what I find is that if I don't scrape, I would wake up in the middle of the night not knowing why, and my hands kind of warm.
Before you go to bed, you do this?
Yeah, before I go to bed. I actually have one on my sofa, and I have another one. Not exactly this. This is something I invented last night. No, actually a couple of days ago. And but I have one actually by my bed.
Do they have an actual stick or something that's designed for that?
Something, the tool?
This, rather than this, what do you have at home?
Oh, I have all kinds. So if you go to Amazon and you look for guatsa, G-U-A, and then second word is S-A. Oh, you'd be surprised how many tools are there. Guatsa, yeah, guatsa. Guat means scrape, yeah. So, or you just say scraping tool, facial scraping tool. Women buy it to scrape their face.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a brush I use on my body.
Huh?
I have a brush that I use on my whole body before I get in the shower.
Yeah. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah, you can. There are all kinds of things you can buy. Actually, one of the students, she's very smart. She said, "Well, if you run out of things, then open the jar, and then use the cap. That works." Or I usually when I'm flying, I use the knuckle. I just use the knuckle. All right. Now you can try the knuckle. You always have your knuckle with you, so why not?
Yeah, the knuckle works good.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get to the angle, the knee in a minute, okay? I'll get there. All right, so we're just still working on the upper body. So the next two exercises are gonna help if you have carpal tunnel or frozen shoulder. Okay, so you notice that I'm dealing with pain, but I'm dealing with pain from the standpoint of qi, energy. And the idea is that if the channels are free, so energy can flow, then you don't have inflammation, and then your body will not feel pain. It's kind of like this, I go away for 2 weeks. I live in a house that is over 100 years old. It was built right after the big earthquake, and in San Francisco. And so I don't trust the plumbing system, so I shut it down before I leave. I come home and I open the water. It takes half an hour to get all the rust out, right? So same idea, so you think about this plumbing, like the energy system. If they get stuck, it takes a long time to clear it. And right? That's the same idea. Now, the next two exercises will clear this channel. It not only helps with your upper body, it actually helps with the lower body because it's an energy system. All right, so now what we're going to do is, again, come back to our bodies, stretch, and then we're going to lift up the shoulder this time. Okay, lift up the shoulder, just like focus on the top of the shoulder and just lift it up, and then lean back, open the shoulder as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back, and then relax. Look straight ahead, point the fingers towards in front. Now, focus on the 4 fingers, roll up the 4 fingers, lock it with your thumb, wind up the 4 fingers as if they're springs, but don't let it come out, and just hold it, wind it up, and go 1. Let's get it ready. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now come back. Open that shoulder, relax the shoulder. Use your hand, put the thumb in front, roll up the four fingers. One more time, lift it up, open it, and then relax. Now, notice that my back of the hand is facing the camera. Okay, now I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to put my thumb and the middle fingers together. I'm going to stretch out the other three, come back, put that in front of my shoulder. Looking straight ahead, open my shoulder, get ready? Now, back of the hand facing the camera. The back facing the front. Back, sit up straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? All right. So usually I do this now 7 times a week, plus another class. So I actually do 8 classes a week now. Tuesday I have 2 classes, morning and night. But the evening class I do that with a monk, and he's mostly about doing a lecture and then meditation. But in my case, I alternate between what we do today, which is mainly Qigong exercise, and what we did last week, which is mainly breathing exercise, right? And most of my students are in the 80s and 90s. My mom will be celebrating her 90th birthday this year, and she's not the oldest of the class. And every day we practice hour and a half. No one complains about pain yet. All right. So I'm gonna try to finish in 1 hour today. And so we're gonna quickly move to the lower part of the body. And typically when I do it with my Cantonese speaking students, this is the part where we move up to the top of the head, massaging the neck, massaging, around the head, massaging the face, the eyes, the ears, and then doing a lot of tapping. But today I want to focus on the lower part of the body. Now, again, we think of both, if you want to, you can think of it as near field and far field. In other words, if I have pain on my knee, I work on my knee. But turns out that there are places you work on that would also be good for the knee. Okay? And so we're gonna kind of do a more thorough job on the lower part of the body. And first we're gonna focus on the knee, and you put your thumb right here. You feel like there's a bone, right? Okay, now I want you to measure 3 fingers, and then find that inside, and you push down, you feel a little bit of numbness, right? Okay, now this is actually a very important point to regulate the quality, the purity of. So when the Chinese traditional medicine doctors, when they think about cholesterol, when they think about your diabetes, they actually think of it like you're not cleaning your blood properly. You're just not cleaning your blood properly. And so this one, energy, is very famous for that. No. Now, I want you to do hold a fist, but not too tight, okay? And just put that on top of that and relax. Now, I'll show you first now. You go like this, that's it, okay? Now get ready, go. Okay, so it's very important that you listen with your ear, and I actually do it 30 times. So let's try again, but this time count as you go. Now the next one, this is actually a pair, and you come back to the knee, you measure 4 fingers, you find the bone in front, and it's right next to that. You pushed in, and it's a little bit numb. Okay, now again you put the fist on top, you close your knee, not on the bone, outside the bone. Okay. Okay, let's count 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, now let's measure 4 fingers, find the bone right outside, right? Get ready, go. Okay, all right, so now we come back, And we're going to work on the outside. So between your knee and your hip, divide it into 3 parts, and on the outside. Get ready? Go. And then move it up. Okay, now we get to the knee, okay? All right, so now you find your knee, you go outside, you slide, you can come up, and then you can't come up anymore. And right here, okay? All right, get ready, go. And then in the middle. And then all the way down to the angle, measure 4 fingers. Get ready? Go. Okay? All right, so we have just enough time to maybe do a little bit of massage on your toes, since we did so much work on the fingers. So I want you to open up the toes, use your thumb on the edge, and just massage in between. And then now move to the next one. Move to the next one. And then move to the next one. And then come back. And then now I want you to take the big toe, open it up, and massage in between. And then follow the bone before they meet. Do a little bit of acupressure. And then now I want you to take the feet, turn it upside down, bend back the big toe, see the tendon, scrape the tendon, scrape the bottom of your feet, scrape the heel, scrape the ball area, and then massage the toes, and then scrape the arch. Okay, now do the same thing on the other side. And then back. And then open the big toes on the second one, scrape. Before they join together, do acupressure. Turn it upside down. Bend the toe backward, scrape the tendon. Relax, scrape the bottom of your feet. Scrape the heel, scrape the ball area. Massage the toes. Scrape the arch. Okay? So I'm just kind of skipping a lot in the middle. But that's okay. It's a good introductory. And so one of the things that happens when you do this chi therapy and you do that consistently is that you're not cold anymore. Your fingers not cold, your feet are not cold, right? And I actually sleep very often with my feet outside. And San Francisco is kind of cold, you know, even. Yeah, so I just sleep with outside. It's too warm. My body's too warm. And the other thing that happens is that you get a lot of saliva. So we often talk about, oh, hydration is important. We want to drink a lot of water. But what happened to self-hydration? See, the saliva in your mouth doesn't come from any place else. It actually comes from the inside of your tongue. And the one that operates it is actually your brain. And so our evolution, the evolution of a species is such that we're either under the sun or away from the sun. We're either outside the cave or inside the cave. And when we're outside the cave, we're in danger. We call fight or flight. That's parasympathetic. When we're inside the cave, we're in the comfort of our own home. That's rest and digest. That's parasympathetic. So our body evolved around that. And so when you're out in danger, the first thing it does is that it shuts off your saliva gland. It shuts off your immune system. It shuts off your digestive system. It shuts off your reproductive system. because you're either hunting for food or your animal is hunting you for food. You're in danger, right? So the first thing that happens is that you have no saliva. And so modern people are so accustomed to that, we never think about that. So the only thing we think about is drink more water. Actually, what you really want to do is relax, find a way to return to the parasympathetic, return to the rest and digest, and let the body heal itself, right? And so I talk about cholesterol. So the Western scientists, when they open up someone who died from a heart attack, they notice that the blood vessels are all filled with cholesterol, and they say, okay, cholesterol is a problem, let's deal with that. And of course, it will sell medicine. Who's going to get hurt? And but they don't really explain why so much cholesterol. So they say, oh, because you ate too many eggs. Wait a minute. The body generates 80% of the cholesterol because we need it. A guy actually, a medical doctor, actually wanted to disprove the idea of eating egg yolk and increase cholesterol. He ate 100 eggs a day. That's all he eats, from the morning to the night. After 3 months, his cholesterol goes down because he was eating good quality eggs. no more fast food. Right? So cholesterol is not the problem, it's chronic inflammation. Right? And so these days, the same thing is happening now. So they said, oh, we need to return back to the fight or flight, from fight or flight to rest and digest. And it says people who are under stress and they have chronic inflammation, look at that, they have too much cortisol in their body. Let's deal with that. Let's reduce cortisol. Wait a minute. The cortisol is steroid. Steroid is to reduce inflammation. So you're removing the natural steroid in my body so that you can inject some external steroid. What's wrong with that? Right? But they don't ask, why do you have so much cortisol in your body? Because you're always running away from a wild animal. When you fight a fight, your body says, you're in danger. Let's release some stress hormone, right? So that he can heal himself or herself. And so the cortisol is the natural form of steroid. But we have so much of it that we develop what is called cortisol resistance. Right? So we have so much steroid in the body that we actually need more. Crazy. So the whole Qi process, the whole Qi therapy, is to return back to the rest and digest, but not stay in rest and digest. It's actually to maintain the harmony, because you actually do need cortisol, right? Just like the body do need cholesterol. And so the idea is that we return ourselves and allow ourselves to maintain that balance, and that's why last week the breathing exercise would do that. And so today we're going to continue, and so we have time to do this one exercise, it's a Qigong exercise called Yi Jing Jing. I can explain more. Okay, so you want to stand up, and you want to stand up. Now, I'm just going to go slow, okay? I'm just going to go slow. All right, now I'm going to go slow. And it's actually very strenuous, okay, very strenuous. And from a modern perspective, you need room to jump, so make sure that you stand far apart, push the things backward. You need to jump around that far. Now, a little bit of history. So this exercise, there are many versions of that. I'm not going to argue which one is authentic, which one is not, except that I would say that I was taught by my master, who was taught by a monk who was an abbot of a temple. He was the 49th abbot, and the initiator of the temple was the student of the 4th patriarch. The first patriarch was an Indian called Bodhidharma, who started the Shaolin temple, or Shaolin martial art, and also became the first patriarch of the Zen meditation. So this technique he developed, it was basically a North Indian yogic practice, okay? Now, it comes in 14 form. It combines from a modern perspective stretching, cardio, muscle building, and something that is still lacking in the Western perspective, which is balancing. And so as we age, those are the three that are important. Remember that, okay? Especially balancing. My father died a couple of years back, now it's 4 years ago. And when I look back, he died of dementia. And when I look back, the first sign wasn't loss of memory. The first sign was loss of balance. It's the left brain and the right brain thing, okay? So we do a lot of balancing work here. Okay, so let's get started, enough talking. So I want you to first stand with the feet firmly planted on the ground. Then I want you to rotate the toes inward and bend your knees slightly so you're actually using the calf. Now, from the Western perspective, the calf is your second heart. In fact, there's been a study that says that people who suffer from dementia, this part is completely deteriorated. And so that's why they suggest walking and cycling, but not running. Okay, running hurts your body. Then I want you to open the shoulder, relax the shoulder. I want you to lean back the forehead, tuck in your chin. I want you to focus on the center of your palm, point that downward. Now the first form is called spirit boosting palm. You send a shock wave through your central nervous system. So you pull your hand back slightly. Now, I want you to focus on the center of your palm. And when I say go, you don't follow me. Instead, that's when you say, I'm going to put my mind on the center of my palm, and then I push, send a shock wave. Okay, get ready? Relax. Go. And then now, it's very important that you maintain that harmony. You relax, and you come back to your breath. Focus entirely on your breath. I know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out. So the energetic part, we call it yang. That's to clear the energy channel, release stress hormone to reduce inflammation. But as soon as you do that, you come back to maintain the harmony of your autonomous system by focusing on your breath. So one is called channeling, opening the channel, and the other one is called cultivating. Restore your sensitivity. Second time, open your shoulder, palm facing down, get ready, don't follow me, okay? Focus on the center of your palm and then you push, get ready, go. Back to the breath, one breath, two breaths. One last time, this is the last time. Get ready, open your shoulder, don't look down, lean back the forehead, tuck in your chin, so the top of the head is on top of your spine. Get ready, go. Back to the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now the next one, you focus on your thumb. You take your thumb, you point it to the hip. You raise your hand so you form a semicircle. You don't touch your body. You rub your four fingers. And you imagine hanging 2 buckets of water on your thumb, and you lift up the buckets of water, bending the thumb upward as hard as you can. And then you relax without lowering your hand, back to the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Second time, bend it up as hard as you can, creating that energy loop, and then relax without lowering your hand. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. One last time. And then relax. Lower your hand this time. Focusing on your breath. The third one is called beginner's mind. This is what the babies do inside the mother's womb, starting with inside the mother's womb. They fold it, they put the thumb across, they roll up with the 4 fingers, and then you squeeze the thumb, squeeze the fist, and then open your fingers without lowering them. One breath. 2 breaths. Second time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then relax. One last time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then lower your hand, completely relax. Now, when you focus on your breath, and you can check to see if there's saliva inside your mouth. Having wetness inside your mouth, it assures that you are in rest and digest, okay? So the way to do that is just not think about anything, just focus on your breath. Or if you want, you can put the tip of your tongue behind your teeth, right where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth, okay? All right, now the next one, we're going to take a deep breath by putting the fists together, put that in front of your belly button, and then we're going to take a deep breath without stopping. Get ready? Go. And then relax. Now we're going to bring the elbows together, fists in front of your face, in front of your nose. We're going to focus on the back, and we're going to stretch the back as hard as you can, and then relax. One breath. Empty your mind of all the random thoughts. Just focus on your breath, okay? Second time, put your elbows together, put the fist in front of your nose, focus on your back, and then stretch the back as hard as you can, and then relax. Back to the breath. And then one last time, stretch the back, and then relax. Now, fists above the head. Open your fists, open your shoulder. You know, when you go to the lab and they draw blood, they always ask you to squeeze your fist. So we're basically doing this. This is actually very cardio. So you open your shoulder, you roll your fist one joint at a time, you lock it with your thumb, and you squeeze as hard as you can. As hard as you can, as your life depends on it, and then relax. After 2 breaths, open your shoulder, roll your fists, lock it with your thumb, and squeeze as hard as you can, and then relax. One last time, open your shoulder, roll your fist, squeeze as hard as you can, and then relax. The next one is called stabbing the shoulder. So you open your shoulder, imagine yourself grabbing 2 daggers. You point your dagger onto your shoulder and you stab as hard as you can. You feel the tightness behind the neck, and then relax. Let the energy go up to the top of your head. One breath at a time. Second time, open, stab, and then relax. Open, one last time. Now grab the dagger, point the dagger on your shoulder, and stab, and then relax. Next one's called a cross. Now, imagine you have 2 trees. You can feel it with your fingers. Lift it up, roll your fists, your wrist, one big turn. Roll your fists, hold your fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. Relax. Stretching this part, okay? Second time, lift it up, roll your wrist, make a fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. One last time, raise it up, roll your wrist, and push. And relax. Now this part is so important that we do it twice. We do front hanging. So lock your elbow, looking straight ahead, a tree in front, roll your wrist, make a fist, take a deep breath, and push. And then relax. Second time. Relax. One last time, raise your hand. Relax. Now we're going to do chin up. Look up, see the bar. We're actually going to work on this muscle. This is actually a very important part of the muscle. Look up, come on. My 90-year-old mother can do this. Right, grab the bar, follow the bar, pull yourself up as hard as you can, and then relax. After 2 breaths, second time, relax. One last time. This is about muscle, right? Remember I told you? It's also muscle building. Now we're going to continue. You're barely old enough to remember what a yellow page looks like. So we're going to grab the yellow page 1 half at a time, and we're going to rip the sucker off. Relax. Second time. The proper description is opening the bow, as in bow and arrow. Okay? One last time. But ripping the yellow page is more fun. Now, this is when you check to see if you actually have saliva. You collect all your saliva and you swallow all the way down here. Now the next part is important. First you're going to check your what we call the goat stand. Loosen up your knee, stand up straight. Okay, make sure you have lots of room, okay? Back of the hand touching. Go down. Now, you're going to roll this 1, back of the hand touching, very important. Second time, back of the hand touching. One last time, back of the hand touching. Now, flip the hands, follow the palm, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Look straight ahead. There's a big rock in front of you. Go push. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to go meditate now. Come on, sit down. We're going to meditate on the chi. Now, as soon as you sit down, first, make sure your back is straight, your shoulder opens, lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin, close your eye, but don't shut it. Relax your eyelid, and then put the tip of the tongue between the teeth and the roof of your mouth. Now you feel a lot of sensations in your body, a lot of tingling. Seems like a lot of energies are bouncing off the wall. I want you to focus on your belly button. And first observe your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. I want you to focus on the belly button, and when you breathe in, open your stomach as if you're bringing your belly button forward. And as soon as you breathe out, I want you to collapse your stomach, bringing the belly button back. Now what we're doing is basically collecting all the qi in the body, separate it into yin and yang. When we breathe in, it's yang, energetic, sympathetic, fight or flight, all that. When you breathe out, it's yin, that's your rest and digest, your parasympathetic, your yin. And just focus on your breath one at a time. I'm breathing in, open my stomach, belly button forward. I'm breathing out, bringing your stomach, belly button back. Now we don't have enough time today, so we're going to now do the second part. First, you stretch your spine, you open your shoulder, you lean back, and then you relax. Now you focus on the bottom of your spine. When you feel that you're breathing in, I want you to stretch your spine, walk up the spine 1 joint at a time until you get to the top of your head. This collects all the yang energy. And as you breathe out, I want you to come from the top of the head, through your forehead, through your nose, through your tongue, and come back to the belly button. And I want you to lean back and relax. This puts you in the rest and digest. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, lean back and relax. Breathe in, start from the bottom of your spine, go all the way to the top of your head. Breathe out, come back from the front, back to your belly button. Now, the scientists have done a lot of study on this, and they find that they can actually measure your heartbeat. And when you breathe in, you go into fight or flight, your heart actually beats a little bit faster. And then when you relax, your heart rate goes down. And they can actually measure that. Even my Apple Watch can measure that. It's called heart rate variability. People who have problem with chronic pain, have chronic inflammation, is because they actually lost the harmony between the autonomous system. People who practice this kind of breathing exercise, maintaining the harmony between the autonomous system, you can actually measure the heart rate variability. They can actually go in and out between fight or flight and rest and digest. And what they find is that people who have measurable HRV, heart rate variability, it can actually reverse dementia. It can actually repair the brain, slow down the aging. It is very important. Okay, so let's, it's 10:05. Do you need to leave, Larry? Do you need to leave? Yeah. How about just still 3 minutes? Just 3 minutes, yeah. Let's just focus on this. Breathe in, rise, stretch your spine. Breathe out, lean back and relax. I just want you to do that so you can practice on your own when you get home, okay? So Larry, you mentioned that you like visual. So when we practice this, there's a visual that we can have, which is called wandering dragon chasing the pearl. So when you actually practice this, you get into something that modern scientists would call magnetic resonance, which is that your electricity actually cycles. So you're creating a coherent magnetic field. And then the magnetic field now couples with the magnetic field in the universe, and the energy actually rises within you all by itself. You can feel that after a while. You need practice. And that's when we call it a pearl. So you can actually start to visualize that as you breathe in, you rise as if there's a pearl rising in your spine. And you is the dragon. You are the dragon. And if you ever watch dragon dance, they always put that pearl in front of the dragon. The dragon always chases the pearl. So you let the pearl rise and you just chase the pearl all the way to the top. But then you have to remind yourself that this is a wandering dragon. It's a free dragon. It's not constrained. So you rise to the top and just keep rising. And it's only when you feel that you're breathing out that you come back, you lean back and relax. So this is a technique this is the image that we often use, okay? If it helps you to concentrate, all right? Okay, so today we're going to do just 1 hour. And I'm very happy that you can come. And so the whole purpose here is, little by little, we want to help with your health, not only physical health, but spiritual health and mental health. They're all tied together. They're all tied together. Your body is telling you that there's stress in your mind, okay? And we need to do both, right? We need to do both. And so little by little, it's not magic. It's not like taking a pill. But the good news is that there is no side effect.
You gotta put in the work.
Huh?
You gotta put in the work.
You gotta put it to work.
We talked about cholesterol, because my doctor just told me that my cholesterol was elevated from the last test, and that they wanted me to
Start taking a statin.
start taking, well, no, they already
They already
put
have
me on a
it.
statin, and I wasn't taking it because I heard bad things about statin.
Yeah.
And now they're telling me that it went up more.
Yeah.
And I told them lie, and I told them, well, I've been taking it, and they want to increase it. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. Let's take the test again.
So what is your take on statins?
This is the one medicine that you should not take.
He said they
Yeah.
can cause dementia.
Yeah,
And
because
that's what I've read.
it removed that one thing that makes your brain work.
Yeah.
I stopped taking mine.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna take them.
But that's Western medicine.
It's my diet.
That's in a nutshell. That's